Bang, bang, trip over everything. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Oval Window Racing. We're in the garage today. We have nothing but trouble here. That's what my daughter's coined Huberts engine build because, yeah, it seems like there's been nothing but trouble. Time to turn a corner, something new. You know, it's to be expected with these old cases. Now what I got here is, like I said, Huberts engine. I think we decided to go on a 2110 build, but it's going to be built different. It's a 76 millimeter crank with a 94 millimeter piston. As you can see, it is a dual oil relief case. I usually like to build majority of my engines, especially if they're going to be a performance engine, on one of these dual oil relief cases. But this is an early model, and I'll tell you one reason why I know. Because it's got this small stud here for the oil cooler. Not only does it have a small stud, it also had a small, well maybe not. Surprisingly, they did have 8 millimeter there. So should be able, I don't think I'll have to drill those out. A lot of times I'll have to drill those out, but we do have to replace this. Hopefully this comes out easy. Now I like running these later model oil coolers for a couple different reasons. One is because they do cool a little better. The other reason is, you know, Volkswagen, you know, they're not dumb. You know, they make changes, you know, decide something works, but, you know, they decide, you know, something may work a little better. Sorry, we got the furnace. It's like 9 degrees outside, so we're going to have to struggle through that. But yeah, the reason I like running this is because it sets the oil cooler out of the fan shroud. I mean, it's still ducted in the fan shroud, but you still get cooling over 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 cylinders. The non-Doghouse style oil cooler, you're actually running the air through the oil cooler, then over cylinder 3 and 4. There. Sometimes I wonder why I still live in Michigan. Now back to oil coolers. I don't remember where I left off, but you know, you could, in hindsight, probably use this stud, but it is a little, you know, it doesn't wiggle too much. But I'll tell you, you know, if you are one of those people that like to over tighten stuff or don't know your own strength, you will snap that off. I mean, there is a reason, like I said previously, that Volkswagen, you know, upgraded. Some of the older cases actually had a 6 millimeter oil studs, but I think those are mainly the oil, the single oil relief cases, and I don't normally typically, I think I've built one of those for a gentleman because that's what the engine he gave me and that's what he wanted to use. But yeah, we're going to try to remove this today and put a stud in it. They do make a stepper stud where it's 6 millimeter, yeah, this is 6 millimeter on one side and 8 millimeter by 125 on the upper side. But I'll tell you from experience, here we go, don't do what Clinton did. I tried one of those stepper studs, and what I do, I broke it. Tightening down the oil cooler, and wham bam, thank you ma'am. Busted right off clean at the case. Drilling the aluminum magnesium is a lot easier than trying to drill out a steel stud in aluminum magnesium. So yeah, don't do that. I don't recommend that at all. But yeah, let's see if we can get this removed without breaking it and go from there. Let's cross our fingers. I think I'm gonna try a little penetrating oil on it first. I should have probably been soaking it. Good old PB blaster. Is there any left? I shook you. We're out. Why do I even save stuff like this? We'll have to try the original penetrating oil. Now if you guys have never removed studs or haven't seen my video on removing head studs, we're going to use the double nut method because I still haven't gone out and bought the tool yet. And the double nut method is just like it sounds. Put 2 nuts on and tighten them down against each other, and we should be able to back the stud out or break it. You know, the first thing I didn't do was get a measurement on how tall this is. But before I back her out, I think I'll see if I can find a measuring device. Okay. Call that a good 3/4 of an inch high. We'll grab a hold of the bottom nut and just act like we're going to unscrew it. Oh, look at that. We got lucky. Well, I went through my stash here and I found a couple candidates for studs. They are a little longer by 1/4 inch. But I really don't think that's going to be a big deal since, you know, there's nothing in the way there. You're just going to have to turn the nut down a little bit more. And if I do think it's going to be a hassle, I'll, you know, cut it down 1/4 inch. I can do that. I've got several candidates to play with. But the next thing I got to do is get a measurement on how deep this is, and then find a drill bit for the tap and drill, you know, as deep as it needs to be, and then wind up tapping it. So yeah, let me get a measurement here. Looks like it's about 3/4 of an inch deep. Yeah, roughly 3/4 of an inch deep. Now we're going to be working with a 8mm by 125 pitch tap here. And if you look on these things, they usually tell you what size drill bit to use. Sometimes you got to do a little conversion if you don't have it, but looks like the drill bit they suggest is a 17/64. So let's see if I have one of those. Yeah, this drill bit was in the 17/64 slot, so it should be it. Let's double check. 17/64. And we'll just put it up against the bolt here. Make sure the bolt is just a tad bit bigger than it, and it looks like it. So I'm going to mark this with some tape at 3/4 of an inch depth, then go find my drill. You know, I'm always well prepared. Alright, case seems to be fairly level. The reason I'm leveling it is the drill just happens to have a little bubble level in it too, and the trick is trying to get this hole drilled as straight and level as possible, so you don't have your stud sticking out of there all like this. And if you've never seen the tape trick method for measuring how deep it is, well, that's how you do it. Yep, let's find the vacuum. Double check to make sure the tape did not move up. Looks good. Had that happen before. And looks like we can still go down a little bit more. Alright, so the hole's cleaned out. Now it's time to actually run a tap through it and get threads in there so we can actually thread a bolt in, or a stud. It's going to be a stud. I like to oil my bits a little bit. Kind of helps keep the, I said a bit, not a lot. Kind of helps keep the tool sharp and pulls some of the aluminum out. And this is the other trick, is making sure that this is going to go in straight. Here we go. The trick is keep this thing straight so it runs true. I generally go around a few times to get everything to catch. But you don't want to run it straight in there. To get started, you kind of want to back it out a couple. Do 3/4 to a full turn, and then go backwards about a 1/4 turn. That helps draw the threads you're cutting on the material. It helps draw it out. installing this is going to be a reverse of removing it, and that's the double nut method again. I probably grabbed the wrong wrenches. These look like 12 millimeters. These 13 or 12. Oddballs. Save all my old hardware whenever I tear down an engine or transmission for that matter. Just because this stuff's getting more expensive by the day. Seen a meme out there where it's almost cheaper to use pennies for washers now than it is to go out and buy washers. At the bottom. Things are tight. All right, let's try the oil filter now. Cooler. Let's try the oil cooler now. Now, like I said, that I don't think it's going to matter if this bolt is sticking up a little higher. I mean, we've got plenty of thread down below, and this isn't something that's under a lot of stress, so you don't have to crank it down really tight. But yeah, it looks good. All right, I think that's going to work. Love when a good plan comes together. One of the things I wanted to point out on some of these cases is you have to double check that your seal is going to fit in there. And this happens to be the proper seal, because they make several different seals. In some of these earlier cases, the hole here is a little smaller and use a different seal, but they do make a conversion seal where the lip is smaller on one side than the other, so that you can actually run, the later style oil cooler with the earlier style cases. But in this case, with Emily's case, I think we're going to be all right. The seal fits in there nicely. So yeah, nothing but trouble is coming along. I'm still basically kind of doing some of the case prep here. Then it won't be long before we'll be doing a trial fit on this. So stay tuned for that. As of now, keep shifting those gears, keep cruising, and always enjoy the ride. I'll catch you later.